Alright guys, welcome back to another video here on the channel. Today what I wanted to talk to you a little bit about is trapping. Particularly, as you can see in front of you, I have 3 different sizes of live traps. Now, if you're new to trapping, I recommend going the live trap route, at least for a little while. I mean, I do have other traps. I've got a couple of dog-proof raccoon traps and some leg hold traps and such like that. A few killing traps. A friend of mine owed me some money probably 5-6 years ago, and he gave me about a dozen 220s because he couldn't pay. So I've got about 12 of these. As you can see, I do not use them. I like to hunt. I don't mind trapping a little bit, but I prefer to hunt. And when I do trap, I've got live traps, and for me those work pretty damn good. So I've got 3 different sizes here. There is a much bigger trap for coyote that I don't yet have. It's about $110 plus or minus depending on where you get it. But I do like these. For example, this smallest one, this was a 3-pack. They all come together. Each trap fits inside the other so that they can all be stored and only take up space for just the one big trap. And this one right here is really good for mink and muskrat and really small game, as you can see. Now the way these work, they have a lever on them. Right here, this controls the trigger that drives the door shut, the spring-loaded door. And there's a plate right there. When you put your bait back in here, the animal steps on that plate. That's what releases the door, and the door comes down. As soon as you raise this door up, right here, clicks into place. There's a notch right up here. You probably, I don't know if you can even see it. Right there, see how that just barely catches. So this little trap is a hair trigger, because the animals that are going to come into this trap to get to the bait that you have in the back of this box that have to trigger that plate, those animals are very lightweight. So it has to have a hair trigger. And when that plate is depressed by a paw or anything like that, this rod slides back, down goes the gate. Okay, as the gate goes down, you've got a catch right here to keep this from popping out. And this spring-loaded piece comes forward so that the gate cannot be lifted until you, from the outside, depress this back to be able to pull this up. That is how you reset the trap. That is also how you extract the animal. Okay? All 3 traps work the same way, on the same principle. Like I said, this one would be great for small red squirrels, mink, muskrat, really small game. Probably even chipmunk. I don't really know for sure. Then you have a little bit larger trap. This would be good for small possums and very young coons and squirrels and even rabbit. When I was a kid, I built live traps for rabbits all the time with hair triggers on them, and I caught a lot of rabbit when I was a kid before I got my first gun using a similar trap, except mine were constructed of wood, and I built them myself. These are a really good way for passive protein accumulation or acquisition, if you want to say. It's also a good way to get some small pelts for craft use and things of that nature. Now, I don't run a major trap line every year because I'm not a fur seller, okay? I harvest fur bearers for my own personal use, okay? I eat the meat, and the furs that I do take, the stuff that I tan, is my own personal use. I've never sold a pelt in my life because I just want the pelt for me. So I don't have a trap line up with 50 traps or anything of that nature. I don't have 40 dog-proof raccoon traps. I don't have 16 220 conibears. I don't have a whole bunch of leg hold traps and all this kind of stuff, because it's not a source of income for me. It's not my way of life. It's not my living. This is all just personal use. Now there is a trap bigger than this one, as you can see. This is a very large, fairly, can't even talk, This is a fairly large trap, and this will do large possums and coons and possibly even a small bobcat. I like this trap though because it's a little bigger, and anything you're going to catch in this trap may be a little bit more wily. Okay, so this trap, actually you can see right there, has a handle, so that when this comes back and you raise this door, your hands aren't here but up here out of the way. And if I caught something in here that was a little gnarly and a little pissed off, there's an advanced tool for the job right there. You just hook your stick in right there, pull your door open, and you hold that up, because the animal's probably going to trigger that plate again in the back before it gets out. But I can now hold this trap open and live release that animal and have my hands away in case it comes out of there pissed off, because we do have badger, and this trap will catch a small badger, and they come out very aggressive. So what I would do in that instance is I would have this trap on the ground. I would use something like this to hold the door open to keep my hands away with my foot on top of the trap, and let that badger out of there, and hopefully he just goes on about his way and doesn't turn on me and decide he wants to chew me up. So you can get a 3-pack of these traps for like 80 bucks, sometimes cheaper, 70 bucks. These come from Orscheln Farm and Home. They're used commonly on ranches and farms to live trap and relocate animals that are nuisance. But it's not necessarily, it's great to be able to release an animal into a new environment instead of setting live traps or leg hold traps. You know, even a small 110 conibear will bite you. If you're inexperienced with how to set these traps, a 110, you know, while it's not going to necessarily break bones, it's going to hurt like hell. Especially like a little double long spring 110, something like that, made for really small animals. It still hurts like hell when those jaws come closed on you. Dog-proof raccoon traps, they're great. They're fantastic. But you got to know how to dig your pocket sets and different things like that to use those traps. And, you know, that's a whole other video. But I really like my live traps because I don't trap a lot. Like I said, the 3-pack could be had for about 80 bucks. I don't even remember what brand these are, but they're really good for passive hunting, okay? And for catching anything you don't necessarily want to kill. But now, if I get something in here that is a target fur bearer that I want, and I look at it and I decide, okay, that pelt is prime and I want to harvest that animal, at that point, when I harvest that animal, I harvest the entire animal, which means to say that I don't waste the meat, okay? If I trap an animal and I take it for its pelt and for its leather, I'm also taking it for its meat. That means if I trap squirrel, I'm eating squirrel. If I trap skunk, I might eat skunk. But if I trap anything else, bobcat, I'm eating bobcat. Okay, possum, I'm eating possum, I'm eating coon. Do not waste the meat on the animal. When you harvest that animal, find a way to use it. Either you eat the meat or find somebody who's willing to. And just try not to waste life, okay? Because I don't believe an animal should die just for its pelt. I believe you should use as much as the animal as possible. Now, I'm probably not going to take all the bones and make jewelry out of them and, you know, crazy stuff like that. But I will at least harvest the hide and use the meat. All right? Okay, guys. Well, thanks a lot for watching. Like I said, if you're new to trapping, try some live traps. You can get them pretty much any farm and ranch store, any kind of outdoor store. I'm sure you can get them at Bass Pro, Cabela's, all over the place. But they're very, very easy to set, and once you get used to them, they're very easy to release the animal, and yeah, you just can't really go wrong. So anyway, thanks a lot for watching, guys. Don't forget, if you haven't yet, you'd like to subscribe to the channel, reach over there and hit that subscription button for me. If you do, you can reach over there and ding the notification bell if you'd like to, and be notified when I upload future videos. Questions or comments, hit me up, drop those down below, and I will see you guys on the next one. Have a good morning.